All right, allow me to tell you a story. Okay, so 2 weeks ago, I was I was traveling for a little bit, and then I got back to Queens, and so I was staying in Queens for a couple of weeks with my family, hanging out with them, driving them crazy, and I was about to come back to my apartment, which I'm in right now in the East Village, and I was about to, come and do the Shoy Show again and resume comedy, right? So what ended up happening is somebody contacted me that day and said, "Hey," he's like, "I'm looking for an apartment, and I've been illegally renting my apartment for like a good year, right? Illegally subletting. The landlord knows and all of that." So anyway, so this guy calls me and he tells me, "Listen, I'll rent your apartment." He's like, "Let me give you 3,000 up front, and then I'll give you more money by the 15th." So he gave me the money. It was on a Thursday, and he ends up telling me, I end up giving him the keys. He comes to the apartment. Everything's fine. So the next day on Friday, I fly down to Miami. I didn't know where I was gonna go. I could have went to South America. I was gonna go to LA. I was gonna go to Europe again. Who knows? And I just went down to Miami, and I was actually planning on doing the Shoy Show there. I bought an amp. And I bought a microphone, and I was gonna do the Shoy Show. Anyway, so he rented the apartment 2 weeks ago on a Thursday. Monday, he sent me a weird message on Sunday, like asking me if everything was okay. Monday, the landlord reaches out and says, "Bashoy," he's like, "I know you've been illegally subletting your apartment for over a year." He's like, "But this tenant that you just got is like really bad." So I reach out to him. I say, "Hey man, what's going on?" He's like, "I don't know. You tell me." I was like, "Listen," I was like, "Do you have a dog? The dog's barking nonstop, and he has his boyfriend here, and they were arguing nonstop, going crazy." So they kept getting a lot of complaints from the other tenants, our neighbors. So then he keeps complaining, and like the landlord. So I go to talk to this guy, and I was like, "Hey man," I was like, "maybe things are not working out. You didn't tell me about the dog." He's like, "Yes, I did. It's a service dog." And he didn't tell me about your boyfriend. And he's like, "Yes, I did tell you about your boyfriend." He did not tell me about his boyfriend. Anyway, so uh, I'm in Miami. It's Art Basel. Tuesday, I was playing basketball. I hurt my wrist, and what ended up happening was the um, the landlord uh, emails me on Wednesday, and he says, "Listen, man," he's like, "one of the tenants just told me that last night someone was here changing the locks." So he changed the locks for the apartment. So now at this point, he's been in the apartment for 6 days. On Wednesday, I was supposed to be in Miami for a month. On Wednesday, I went down. I went to the airport and I flew back. I got to the airport at 5 o'clock. I took a 5:56 back to LaGuardia. I get back to New York on Thursday. Now it's 1 week later, 7 days. I come over here, and we were arguing, me and him. He was like, "You got to get me my scooter back." They took it. The the landlord had taken his scooter, and he wanted money. He wanted pretty much, when it was all sudden. Then we spoke about 2,000, 2,500. I'm giving you all the details, all the different money. He ends up saying, "Give me." We end up like saying, "Give me $3,000 and the scooter." So he wanted his money back in the scooter. So I come up. I told him, I said, "Listen, man, you gotta answer me." He's not answering. So after he changed the locks, I'm like, "What is this guy doing?" So I had this thing where I had to come back to New York and like physically show a presence. So all in all, I lost the money on the apartment. Thursday I came over here. I was knocking on the door. He wouldn't come out. Wouldn't come out. He was squatting, and I called the police. Police didn't know. I said, "Is it illegal? Is it legal or illegal to change the locks?" It was this whole thing, and I had to get him out. And I ended up renting it out to a bunch of crackheads. My walls are like so dirty and shit. There's like a bunch of crackheads. Anyway, and I was gonna do the Shoy Show, and I told this guy, I said, "Listen, man, I'm about to." I told him it was a comedian. We spoke on the phone before I rented him the apartment. I was like, "You're about to upend my life. Like, I'm about to make a decision now. I could have went to South America easily. I could have went down to Brazil. It's like, if I would have went down there, I mean, it's still a flight away. But I told him, don't screw me. I know I just met you. I'm gonna rent you my apartment, but don't screw me. I'm in Miami. This guy's not answering any calls, whatever." So I came over here. I knocked on the door. Knew that I was in Miami. We FaceTimed in Miami. It was one of the few times he called me because he wasn't answering the phone. So when he called me on FaceTime, I picked up. He sees the palm trees. He's like, I was like, "Yeah, I'm in Miami. I told you, since you were going to the East Village in my apartment, I'm going to somewhere else." Anyway, so I just did the Shoy Show, and this was a lot of fun. A week ago, I was in dire straits. I had to pay this guy on Friday we came up with an agreement. I cut off the electricity. I cut off the internet. I had to pay this guy $5,000, and get him his scooter back from the landlord. I lost $4,500 on the Airbnb in Miami because I guess it was Art Basel and it was so busy. And I'm like begging the Airbnb host. I'm like, come on, man. I was a host for so long, for many years now, and when you host now, if people have something come up, it's give them a break, do it for so many people. Anyway, and this guy so I stayed in Miami for 6 nights. I did nothing Art Basel related. I just went to Wynwood, met a whole bunch of people, got invited to 2 private events, was going to 2 parties, and I flew right back in the middle of that week. Who gives a shit anyway? This guy's out of my apartment. Now I'm back in the East Village. It was so cold today, and I'm so happy I did the Shoy Show. And so many people were stopping and taking videos and stuff, and it was just really cool to be back. So yeah, look out for more Shoy Show. Let's do it.